Courtney and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing the new L'Oreal True Match Nude Tinted Serum Foundation. So if you are interested in this foundation, my thoughts, a few looks with it, beginning of the day, end of the day, that sort of thing, then please continue to watch. Now, the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum Foundation is $19.99 for 1 ounce. So it is on the higher end of drugstore pricing, I think. Now, this does come in 14 shades. I got the shade 10, 6 to 7. The next shade up was 10, 7 to 8, which was a little bit too rich for my skin tone. It did have like the undertone though that I would want. This one is a little bit more neutral, so it's gonna look a little off, a little grayish, a little different on my skin tone. I do wish there was a shade in between this one and the next one. It is kind of a jump. Now, it is a tinted serum, so I understand that they made less shades because it's supposed to cover a wider shade range in the tint. However, for me, I do feel like it's a lot more coverage than just a tint. So I do wish they had more shades, and I do wish there was a shade in between this one and the next one. This serum foundation does contain 1% of hyaluronic acid, which can increase skin moisture and reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I wrote it down. And it can also reduce redness. The thing about hyaluronic acid, I think I've said this on my channel before, it does need to be accompanied by a few different things for my skin so that it's not dry and textury looking, because hyaluronic acid for me is a hit or a miss. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead, zoom you guys in, and we're gonna do like the whole face try on situation. All right, so before we apply, I did want to read off the claims from the actual L'Oreal site. It says the True Match Hyaluronic Tinted Serum is the first tinted serum with 1% hyaluronic acid. Instantly, skin looks brighter, even, feels hydrated. Hyaluronic acid gives skin a hydrated feel, smooths over time. Luminous mineral pigments brighten complexion. 14 radiant shades blend to match a variety of skin tones. I feel like if it's only 1% hyaluronic acid, can you really call it a hyaluronic serum foundation? This is what the bottle looks like. As I said, it is your regular 1 ounce. It does come with this situation, which I can't stand. I don't like stuff like this. I mean, I know it may be a little bit more sanitary, but if you're like putting it on your face, it's not. And it doesn't always grab the actual product. It's so messy. Okay, see, this is what I'm, anyway. This is the actual texture. It does have like a yellowy, neutral kind of tone to it. It is a little bit too light for my skin. I don't know if I said that already, but we do make it work with the rest of the face products. And as you can see, it is a serum-y feel. It's not super thick, it's not super runny. Nice and literally serum-y. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, dabble on this side of the face. So I think on this side, we'll go in with sponge. I apologize if my camera is going from like dark orange to light bright for some reason. We're in the process of getting a new camera. Without foundation, with foundation. This foundation is very skin-like, and I like that about it. As you can see, you can still see some of my moles. It's not, you know, full coverage. It is more coverage than I thought that this serum foundation was going to be. It gives a really nice even canvas. One thing that I do note about this foundation, one, because of the color, I am going to be turning a little bit gray throughout the day, so that's neither here nor there. I'm not really going to judge it on that. Just color wise, we don't have a lot of options with this. Now, I could take this one and mix it with the 7 to 8, but then that would make this foundation a $40 foundation. And I'm just not gonna do that. I'd rather just go to Sephora and get, you know, a Fenty in my shade. Initially, when I put it on, you do have like a light glow. As I'm talking and it's settling into the skin a little bit, you can see that it is starting to mattify ever so slightly. It does dry down on my skin. Again, for me, hyaluronic acid is just a iffy thing on my skin. The thing that I've noticed with this foundation, it does sink into the lines a little bit as I'm talking. I've only had this on for a few seconds. You can see a little bit of porridge right here. So it does emphasize my texture a little bit. As you can see, it's starting to look a little bit drier, a little less glowy than when we first put it on. I actually don't know if y'all can see that. I can see it in my mirror, but I don't know if you guys can see it on camera. We're gonna see if we can get some of this stuff out this time. There we go, we got something. Now we're gonna go in with the brush. Sponge. Brush side. I wonder if y'all can see the difference now. So because we just put this side on, it's a little bit more shiny, a little bit more glowy. Whereas this side, as I said, is kind of drying down a little bit. Are my hands ashy? Probably, sorry. But yeah, so you can see the difference. It does dry down on my skin. It does say that it cancels out redness. As you can see, I still have a little bit of redness around my nose. I am gonna go in with a little bit more on a sponge just to sort of dab that around and see if I can clean that up. Usually I do put a little bit of foundation under my eyes before my concealer just to kind of cover up this spot right here. So it did kind of conceal that a little bit. I will say it's not the worst canvas that I've had to work with as far as foundations go. I think one of the worst foundations I've ever tried was like the Stila, I think it was called Stay All Day or something like that. That was a pretty hard foundation to work with. This one I've had some really good makeup days with, but I've also had really bad ones too. So I guess it depends. We'll see what kind of makeup day we have today. I'm gonna go ahead, finish up the rest of my makeup, and then we'll come back and you guys can see what that looks like. Okay, so this is the look that we are going to be rocking today. All right, so I did a few things to sort of make it make sense. I did take the Makeup Forever Duo Matte Powder. Now this one has been around for a long time, so I don't know if they still make this or if they renamed it or whatever, but I used that to sort of nullify the paleness, the neutral color of it all, so that I can bring a little bit more warmth back into the skin. I also used the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer for a little bit of smoothing, because this is a foundation that definitely needs that. One thing I do want to mention, if I look up close, I do have like little hairs around the mustache area, and you can see it. This is one of those foundations that will emphasize any fine lines, hairs, textures, and stuff like that. It feels okay. I do have spots on my face like right here and right here that feel a little bit more makeup-y than I would like, but it's by no means like an icky kind of feeling like it's just makeup, you know what I mean? But yeah, I do think that this came out really good today. I do want to show you guys another day that I wore this, and I wore it with like this really shiny brown lipstick that I got from L'Oreal. It's so pretty. This was another day that was a really good makeup day. Again, everything in the description box below. At the beginning of the day, everything was smooth, everything was sitting. I felt really pretty. Did have to do a little, you know, tweaking of the makeup, but it did still turn out really well. Looked really pretty. At the end of the day, I didn't have a ton of like oily, disgusting feeling. Like it still had the oils peek through, but not in a way that was like crazy, nasty, can't stand it. It was still doable, and I could definitely blot it and it would have been completely fine to keep going with it. I believe that day I wore it for about 7 hours. And it still looked pretty decent, again, with that whole makeup application that I did that day. There was another day that I used it that didn't turn out so well, but again, I was kind of experimenting with different things. On this specific day, I did like more of a shimmer glow powder to the skin because I did want to see if I can bring a little glow back to the skin. This is one of those foundations that on my skin dries out a little more than I would like it to. So on this specific day, it did come out okay. I feel like I didn't nullify the color as much as I could have, for sure, but it wasn't like the worst makeup day that I've ever had. At the end of that day though, I looked like a greasy mess. I could definitely feel it on my skin. The oils peeked through in a major way. The makeup started breaking down a little bit more, so that day was not my favorite. And again, I do believe that depending on what primers, what powders you put it with, it can go either way. I do believe you can use a sponge or a brush and you'll still get a really good application. It is now 11:24. I got a few things to do today, housework mostly, but I am gonna try to do at least an 8-hour wear test. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I will see you guys in the next clip. Bye. All right guys, I'm back, and this is what my face is looking like. It is now 10:03. So we've had this foundation on well past the 8-hour mark. For as long as we've worn this foundation, it still looks pretty decent, I must say. I do have my oils peeking through, mainly around the nose and in this area right here. Not the worst for sure. Allergies have kind of hit my household pretty hard. It's just one of those things. I've been kind of blowing my nose all day. So I'm not gonna hold that against it. Now I will say, because of the oily parts, it is transferable. So I kind of did this earlier, but you can definitely wipe it off. But you could blot at this point and it still look pretty decent. It doesn't feel any more makeup-y than it already did before. With the right primers, powders, concealers combination, you could get a pretty decent application for sure. If you're like me and you have dry skin and occasionally get a little bit of texture, or if you have texture at all, I feel like this is a foundation that's going to emphasize it. Hyaluronic acid tends to dry my skin out, which is noticeable in the foundation. So I did ask my husband today what he thought of the makeup, and he was like, looks good, but up close it looks a little cakey, a little dry, a little, and I'm like, exactly. Every time that I've worn this foundation, even on the really good makeup days like the one that I showed you in the clip and the one that I had today essentially, it still up close looks very textury, it looks very dry, it looks cakey around this area for sure. And I know right here, from the lights and everything, it looks a little probably smoothed out, but honestly, every time that I've worn this, especially before I put everything on, I just look at it like, ugh. Because I feel like it does sink into my lines as well, so it makes me look a little bit older. It gives me texture sometimes where I may not even have it, but simply because it's meeting like the powders or the whatever else, it just doesn't flow the way that I would love it to. So now that we're zoomed in, I'm gonna see if you guys can see what I'm talking about. So it looks super cakey and like porous right here. It still kind of sinks into the smile lines. All the fine hairs and stuff are like sticking out. And like I said, while from a distance it doesn't look the worst, I just feel like it emphasizes so much more than it needs to. It doesn't look that great up close. So bottom line is, would I recommend this foundation? I would only recommend this foundation if you are somebody who legit swears by hyaluronic acid and it actually enhances your skin. Alright guys, that about does it for me. Keep in mind I do have a few more foundation reviews coming for the rest of this month and next month. I have a few to get to actually. We've had to record and re-record and record and re-record. Hot mess. Anywho, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video if it is in your heart to do so. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.